Hello students. So today we'll start with your biology classes again. Okay, and so we have already completed a lot of chapters, and I hope you all understand about all the explanation which we have done, and I hope you're studying at the same time. So today we are going to discuss about the nervous system. Like in your previous classes, we have already discussed about nervous system, right? When you're in class 6, class 7, I think you still have an idea about the nervous system. So you know that we are all living organisms, right? So we living organisms, not only us but other living organisms, they also react to various stimuli. Okay, living organisms, what do they do is that they react to various stimuli, as well as they respond to the changes in the environment. Okay, living things does these two things. What they do is that they react to the various stimuli as well as they respond to the changes in the environment. So whatever in the environment, there will be changes regarding the weather or regarding the temperature or regarding anything. Okay, what happens in the environment, your living organism, they will respond and react to various stimuli. This stimuli means, okay, that a change, when there is a change in the external or internal environment. In environment we have external and internal environment. Okay, so when there is a change in the external or internal environment, they produce a physiological response in an organism. Okay, this stimulus, it means that there are the change, okay, the change that happens in the external or internal environment, and they produce a physiological response in the organisms. Okay, these reactions by the organisms is called as response. Okay, so in an easy term we can tell that a stimulus, what do they do is that they are the change that happens in the internal or external environment, okay, that an organism responds to it. Okay, or we can say that when the organisms produces a reaction, okay, that is known by a stimuli. And then this stimuli, okay, stimuli can be of two types. You have internal and external. You have internal and external. So your external stimuli, they include, these ones include your living and non-living factors. Okay, living and non-living factors, whereas your like non-living, okay, living and non-living factors, okay, living, so you know the living things, and non-living factors will include like heat, dust, water, temperature, etc. Okay, and your internal stimuli, this internal stimuli means like when you have a sensation or when you feel to urinate, when you feel like to pass urine, okay, or when you feel hungry, when you have that sensation of hunger, or you can say when you feel hungry or when you feel thirsty. These are all indicates your internal. And external means the living and non-living factors. The non-living especially will include your heat, dust, water, temperature, etc. Okay, and then another point, you know that we human beings, okay, we have lots of we have various type of system inside our body, right? We have like the digestive system, we have the respiratory system, and then we have your cardiovascular system, etc., and so on. Okay, so all these systems, what do they do is that they work together. You remember we have already have learned about this in your early years, okay, that we know that all the systems, they work together. But even though they work together, they perform particular functions. It doesn't mean that your digestive system and respiratory system, they will perform the same function. Okay, they will work together, but your digestive system will be responsible for the process of digestion, right? And your respiratory system will be responsible for the process of respiration and breathing, right? So even though they work together, they will perform a particular function. but all you should remember that all these systems are related to each other. So since all the systems are always related to each other, there should be a coordination among all of them. There should be some coordination among the system and among the organs. Okay, so what happened is that the interaction of this system, when there is an interaction, as I told you that all the systems are closely related to each other, so there will be an interaction. Okay, the interaction of this system as per the needs of the body internally or externally is called as coordination. So you know that your body systems, they have to work in a coordination manner. Okay, so what is coordination? It is where two or more organs, they interact with one another, with each other. This is known as your coordination. So remember, you have different type of systems, they all work together, but they perform the particular function each. So but even though they perform particular functions, what do they do is that they are all related to each other, and since they are related to each other, they have to maintain coordination. And what is coordination? It means they are when the two or more organs interact with each other. And you know that an organs make up a system, right? When you have lots of organs, when different type of organs, when they work together, they form a system. And when these organs, when they interact with each other, they form a coordination. So I hope you're clear. So this coordination, there are of two types. Okay, first you have is your nervous coordination, and the other one you have, it is your chemical coordination. Okay, so your coordination, they are of two types. First one is the nervous coordination, and the second one is your chemical coordination. So what is your nervous coordination? It is brought by your sense organs. Okay, it is mainly brought by your sense organs, that involves your brain and nerves. Okay, so your nervous coordination, they are mainly brought by your sense organs, and your sense organs involve the brain and the nerve. So for example, your nervous coordination will be responsible, suppose when you touch a hot pan, what do? You directly withdraw your hand, right? Or when you touch a rose that has a thorn, what do? When you get pricked by the thorns, directly you move your hand. So what happened is that this nervous coordination gives you the signal to remove the hand, and that is because of your sense organs, and your sense organs are responsible of your brain and nerve. So the nerve sends signals to the brain to tell that you're touching that hot pan and it's hot, and makes you withdraw your hand. Okay, and then your chemical coordination, it is mostly your chemical messengers. They are mainly brought by your chemical messengers, and these chemical messengers are known as your hormones. Okay, so they are mainly brought by your chemical messengers, and these chemical messengers are known as your hormones. So what does your hormones play a role? Suppose when you eat something stale food, or when you eat a rotten fruits, or when you eat something like a very untasty things, what do? Suddenly you feel like vomiting, right? So this chemical hormones, they're responsible for giving you that sensation where you feel like vomiting. Okay, that is, your hormones are responsible. And you know that our nervous system, they work by coordinating, right? Our nervous system mainly work by coordinating. That is mainly your voluntary actions or involuntary actions. You know, voluntary actions are actions which are controlled by your brain, and these actions, they are controlled by our brain, and we can do them, we can move them on our will. Like when you want to dance, you dance. When you want to eat, you eat, right? And then involuntary actions, they are the sudden actions, okay, that are stimulated, or they are controlled by your stimulus, and they are not under our control. So suppose, like I told you, that involuntary are not under our control. So when you touch something cold, or when you touch something hot, what do? You immediately removed your hand. Okay, so I hope you are clear with the coordination. and the types of coordination. Next you have is the function of your nervous system. So as I've told you, this nervous system, they have a very important functions in the body of living organisms. Okay, in all the body of a living organism, your nervous system, they play important functions. So let us study in details. The first one is that your nervous system helps you to inform, or it informs you about the outside world through your sense organs. So whatever is happening outside the world, okay, outside world, whatever happens, your nervous system informs you. Suppose if someone met an accident, your nervous system makes you see it. Or sometimes whatever happen, when if there is suppose the weather is suddenly cold, your nervous system informs you about that the weather is cold. Okay, and that also it helps you through your sense organs. Another one is that it helps us to think and remember. So when you suppose you are having your exams and you've been studying at night, so the next day what do is that you take your answer script and you write your answer. So your nervous system, what does it do is that it helps you to think and remember whatever you have studied. Okay, the third point is that your nervous system, they help in regulating your involuntary activities. Inside your body, there's always an involuntary action that is happening. Okay, so they help in regulating those involuntary actions, such as your breathing and heartbeat. Because your breathing and heartbeat, they are not done by our own will, it is done by it is a continuous process, right? So what happened is that your nervous system, they start regulating those involuntary activities. And what another one, your nervous system, what do is that they help in controlling and coordinating the various system of the body. So you have the various system in your body, like your respiratory, your digestive, whatever is that system in your body, this nervous system, they help in controlling and coordinating them. So I hope you're clear with the functions of nervous system. Nervous system, next one to have is your nervous system in animals, like especially the nervous system in higher organisms, like those vertebrates, the vertebrates which has a backbone and which has, right, like even like they have a well-developed nervous system. Okay, so even if they have a well-developed nervous system, what does this do is that this well-developed nervous system, they help them to perform various body functions and activities. So whatever body functions they have, or whatever activities they have inside our body, it helps them to perform this nervous system. Okay, and then this nervous system in vertebrates, what do is that they are the main coordinating and integrating system of the body. So this nervous system inside your vertebrates, they help in coordinating and integrating the system of your body. And this nervous system, okay, this nervous system are made up of nerve cells, or we can say them or neurons. Okay, so this nervous system are mainly made up of your nerve cells or your neurons. And what do is that messages are transferred. Okay, so your nervous system in animals, what do is that they send they are made up of your nerve cells or neurons, and then what is their function is that they send messages, okay, or we can say they transfer messages, okay, in the form of they send messages, or we can say they transfer messages in the form of electric signal. Okay, so how do they send? Your nervous system made of nerve cells, and then what do is that they transfer messages, and they transfer messages in the form of electric signal, and this electric signal are known as your impulse. Okay, and then these nerves, and also know that your nerves, they contain bundle of nerve fibers. Okay, they are made inside these nerve cells. You have a bundle of nerve fibers. Okay, they consist of a bundle of nerve fibers, small fibers. And you can think that in a human body, especially in human body, you have millions of, around 30,000 millions of nerves. Okay, in human body, just imagine you have 30,000 million nerves in human body. Okay, And the speed of the nerve impulse, the speed of this impulse, or we can say that the speed of transferring the messages, that is in the form of your electric signal, it will be around 100 meters per second. Okay, so whatever signals that are being transferred by your nerve cells, they transfer in very fast, or we can say they transfer in a very high speed, and that speed is about 100 meter per second. Okay, so I hope you're clear about what is the function of your nervous system, what is the coordination, and what is the nervous system in higher animals. Okay, so in the next class we will be studying about the neuron. So after explaining this, I wish every one of you refer your textbook, and I want every one of you to read each line and to go through it carefully and try to remember the important points.